In the heart of Dubai, a new hyper tower is under development. At 341 meters, it's set to become one of the city's tallest buildings. The developer, Body, has teamed up with Mercedes-Benz to create a branded living community called Living in Sensual Purity. The building, costing an estimated $1 billion, will feature a curved pinnacle and a back facade with the iconic Mercedes-Benz star. The interior will include luxurious materials like Gaia marble, walnut wood, leather, and black granite, with details inspired by Mercedes design. It will house 150 luxury apartments over 65 stories, equipped with smart home features, exclusive lounge spaces, gyms, restaurants, spas, and pools. Some high-end apartments will include private gyms, cinemas, and massage rooms. The project is expected to be completed by the end of 2026, with apartments starting at $2.3 million and the penthouse over $20 million. This building represents a new trend in architecture: branded living. The concept, existing for almost a century, has seen a surge in recent years, with fashion houses and high-end brands like Armani, Missoni, Diesel, and Bulgari entering the market. Branded residences are highly profitable. In Dubai, associating a residential property with a well-known brand can increase its sales price by an average of 37%. The business model appeals to brands as it strengthens their market presence and profitability. Mercedes, for example, has announced similar projects in Miami, aiming to leverage its brand value through luxury real estate. However, the construction industry in Dubai, despite its glitz and glamour, is often fraught with ethical issues. Migrant workers, who make up nearly 90% of the UAE's population, face harsh working conditions, including 12-hour days for meager wages. The kafala system traps workers by tying their visas to their employers, leading to widespread abuse such as wage theft, passport confiscation, and physical intimidation. Domestic workers face additional challenges, including sexual and physical abuse and excessively long work hours. Mercedes' historical association with forced labor during World War II and current concerns about its supply chain in China highlight the ongoing ethical dilemmas in its operations. While Mercedes claims to monitor human rights risks and ensure voluntariness in employment, the construction of the Mercedes Tower in Dubai raises questions about worker safety and fair labor practices. The extreme heat and dangerous working conditions in Dubai contribute to the high risk faced by migrant workers. Despite official regulations, enforcement is weak, leaving workers vulnerable to exploitation. The branded residences trend, driven by the allure of luxury and status, continues to grow, with significant profitability for both developers and brands. Yet it brings to light critical ethical considerations about labor practices and human rights, especially in regions with histories of exploitation and insufficient legal protections. The concept of branded living has evolved significantly over the decades. Starting in the early 20th century, hotel brands like Ritz-Carlton and the Four Seasons expanded into residential properties, offering a seamless blend of luxury hospitality and home living. These residences promised not just opulence, but a lifestyle aligned with the brand's values. Over time, other industries recognized the potential in this model. Fashion brands like Armani, Missoni, and Diesel began creating branded residences, each project more prestigious than the last. The jeweler Bulgari, for instance, will soon unveil a lighthouse, enshrouded in marble and artificial coral. Even high-end restaurants like Nobu are involved. Their branded residence in Mexico was so successful that currently 10 more are under development globally. There are currently over 700 branded residences, either completed or under development, containing over 100,000 apartments. This number is expected to double by 2027. In some ways, it makes sense to desire a branded home. Legacy brands like Mercedes are aspirational. Their cars are associated with status, quality, and innovation, qualities that people also want for their homes. And as a brand, Mercedes-Benz might just feel more trustworthy than some property developers. Branded residential buildings tend to be found in cities like Miami and Dubai, places known for conspicuous consumption. But since the trend is set to keep growing, soon many major cities could have branded residences. And all this could well extend beyond luxury brands. Maybe there's a Disney high tower coming to a skyline near you. The business case is easy, branded buildings are highly profitable. In Dubai, slapping the right brand on a residential property can add an average of 37% to a project's sales price. Sometimes the premiums are crazy high. The Bulgari building sold apartments for 3 times higher than its non-branded counterparts. Obviously, this is a fantastic deal for property developers, but it's a win for the brands too. Beyond the immediate profit, take Mercedes. The company is highly profitable with steady sales, but it has had difficulty gaining footing in the EV market. Supply chain bottlenecks and inflation that affected the entire automobile industry also ate into their recent performance. Luxury real estate might be an appealing way to further strengthen a core aspect of the carmaker's business model, an immensely valuable brand. The Mercedes-Benz Tower will feed into that brand, or so might be the hope. Its presence will loom even greater in a city that already has a lot of Mercedes dealerships. Mercedes also announced the building of a residential tower in Miami. The business case might be similar. Luxury real estate might offer a good return on investment. In case you don't have that kind of cash available, though, investing in your personal growth could be a more affordable option. With Brilliant, you can deepen your knowledge of math, science, technology, and a wide range of other topics with interactive lessons. It's a method proven to be up to 6 times more effective than just watching a lecture video. Brilliant has a fantastic course on vectors that helps you describe motion and orientation in space, where you can enhance your ability to visualize and solve complex problems in multidimensional spaces. The basis of building towers like this one. Learning new things has never been more fun. Try Brilliant for free for 30 days and see for yourself. You can just scan this QR code, go to brilliant.org, or click the link below. You'll also get a 20% discount on an annual premium subscription. Porsche was the first major car brand to get into real estate back in 2016. The Porsche Design Tower in Miami profited nearly $300 million. It boasts 22 billionaires, Alicia Keys, and Lionel Messi as residents. It even has a special car elevator that whisks your car straight into your living room. For the Mercedes Tower in Dubai, it is not yet known what special features it will have. But for a billion-dollar tower, twice as expensive as the Porsche building, we can probably expect something extravagant. $1 billion is a truly staggering amount for any building, especially a residential one. But large-scale construction in Dubai often involves more than just financial costs. Construction workers in Dubai regularly work in terrible conditions. During the construction of the Burj Khalifa, for example, workers were expected to work 12-hour days, 6 days a week for $4 per day. That's if everything was going according to law, which often it wasn't. The UAE's migrant workers, nearly 90% of the population, are particularly vulnerable to human rights violations. Migrants enter the country under the kafala system, meaning that their visa is sponsored by their employer and they can't change or leave jobs without their employer's permission. This creates a massive power imbalance in favor of the employer. As a result, abuses are rampant. Migrant workers routinely face exorbitant fines, wage theft and unpaid overtime, confiscation of passports, and intimidation. There are no due process guarantees to counter these abuses. In an extreme recent case, migrant workers have also been tortured en masse by the regime's authorities. Domestic workers, who are usually women, face the same widespread issues, but even more on top: sexual and physical abuse from their employers, workdays up to 21 hours, and confinement to the home. Because domestic workers typically live at their employer's home, it's even easier for employers to trap and exploit them. The UAE has made some modest labor reforms in the last few years, but Human Rights Watch claims the regime fails to enforce them. This means that low-paid migrant workers continue to be vulnerable to forced labor, a sensitive topic for Mercedes both historically and today. During the 1940s, nearly half of its 64,000 workers were enslaved concentration detainees and prisoners of war. Historian Neil Gregor argues that Mercedes was able to exit wartime in relatively good economic standing because its business leaders actively colluded with the Nazi regime and chose to profit from slavery. After decades of silence, the company finally dealt with this past openly. Fast forward to 2023, Mercedes reportedly sources some of its parts from Xinjiang, China. Beijing is accused of administering forced labor programs in the region. Automotive parts are identified as especially likely to have been produced by Uyghurs under state-sponsored coercion. In fairness to Mercedes, a recent study found that forced labor is likely widespread in the supply chains of almost all big car manufacturers worldwide. Nonetheless, Mercedes promises they're watching out for human rights abuses. Their website refers to a company-wide system to address human rights issues using guidance from organizations like the International Labor Organization and Transparency International. They systematically monitor the risk of human rights violations using KPIs and targets. With regard to forced labor specifically, Mercedes states that all of their employment relationships are based on voluntariness, but their readiness to do business in Dubai, specifically related to construction, does make you wonder how carefully they are really checking. The work of constructing Dubai's glittering skyline is not only harsh and exploitative, but also extremely dangerous. Every year, thousands of migrant workers in the UAE die of unexplained causes. Experts assess that in addition to overwork and workplace accidents, a big reason is likely extreme heat. Temperatures can top 50 degrees or 122 degrees. Many workers survive but return home with kidney failure or other illnesses caused by exposure to extreme heat. On paper, the regime bans employers from forcing laborers to work during the day's hottest hours, but it's been documented that construction workers have been forced to work during the forbidden hot hours regardless. According to Human Rights Watch, this policy, even when respected by employers, isn't enough to protect workers. The Mercedes-Benz Tower will begin construction this year, likely the hottest on record. We asked Mercedes and Body for comments on how they will ensure worker safety and fair pay and prevent forced labor on this massive construction site. So far, we have not received a response from either company. The building will cause a sensation, and Body and Mercedes will likely profit massively. Many will find it a beautiful and desirable place to live. Will it be, though? The broader implications of such projects extend beyond their architectural marvel. They touch on the ethical considerations of labor practices, the transparency of global supply chains, and the true cost of luxury living. As branded residences continue to rise in popularity and profitability, the industry must grapple with these complex issues to ensure a fair and humane approach to development.